Broadcasting from the basement of La Penta, it's WICR.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Fall Jersey. Joe Archino back here. And there are three things that I think I've talked about more than anything else on the shows this semester. And I think that's Leicester City Football Club, the Golden State Warriors, and then probably FC Barcelona. But this one is, of course, about the Golden State Warriors because they are about to do something that I don't think I ever was going to see happen, and that's break the Chicago Bulls' 1995-96 record of 72 wins and 10 losses. They currently stand at 72-9, and then on this Wednesday, they will play the Memphis Grizzlies, and they will get that elusive 73rd win of the season. And it's one of those things where, again, you just have to say it out loud and think about it. You will have won 73 games and lost 9. I mean, I used to have the NBA encyclopedia glued to my fingers throughout high school. I'd carry it with me everywhere I went, and that Bulls record of 72-10, it just felt so godly like it was something that could never just be duplicated or come close to. But Golden State is going to do it, and I think it's good for basketball that this record is broken. Again, records are meant to be broken, and it's one of those things where you have to look at who's about to break this record and how did they do it. And I think that more than anything is why it's good for basketball, because Golden State epitomizes everything about doing things the right way. This is a group that's centered around the word unselfishness, and that's a word that means a tremendous amount in sports. We don't find it a lot, especially in the NBA. We don't find that word unselfishness all the time. It's a superstar-driven league where egos sometimes get in the way of what matters most. But that doesn't happen with Golden State. With Golden State, you have players like Stephen Curry, like Klay Thompson, like Andre Iguodala, who all put their egos aside for what matters most. Andre Iguodala last season accepted his role of coming off the bench. This is a player making a tremendous amount of money, who's well established in the league, and for many, they would not have willingly accepted the role that he did. But it was never an issue with Andre Iguodala, and I think it says so much about Steve Kerr because at the end of the day, it does really start at the top. It starts with your GM and Bob Myers, who did an incredible job building this team, and then it goes to Steve Kerr, whose vision and whose coaching got them to this point, and then the players. The players always, guys like Klay and guys like Curry, their playing styles are very similar. And to a lot of people, that could be a problem at times because they both want their shots, they both want their glory, they both can drop points unlike anyone in this league, but it's never an issue. Klay knows this is Stephen Curry's team. He has just as good of a scoring touch, and I think sometimes Klay might even be a better shooter at times. Maybe not in a game or off the dribble as Curry, but Klay Thompson is just as good a shooter as anyone in this league, but he has no issues sharing the spotlight and even giving the spotlight to Stephen Curry. And you wouldn't find that on a lot of teams, but you do with Golden State because they are defined by unselfishness. They're going to get this record. 73 wins will be theirs, and they will have done it based around that one word of unselfishness. And that's why, to me, it's a record that should be broken, and it's good that it will be broken by Golden State. But then again, you always go back to that thing, it don't mean a thing if you don't get that ring, and I think certainly Golden State had a couple moments where they showed that vulnerability, and for the most part this season, they've looked so invincible, but there has been some moments of vulnerability closing out the year, but now they've started to get that back again. They hand San Antonio the loss at home. They beat them at their own home court. Because I think a lot of people looked at the loss that they suffered against San Antonio just a few weeks back and said, well, this kind of shows that it's not going to be as easy as we once thought. But Stephen Curry, that was the win for him. And to me, it's been so easy all along. We all know Stephen Curry is going to win it in a landslide. He should get every single vote. If someone doesn't vote for Curry, they just haven't been watching the NBA this season. But that's the kind of win where he can put his signature on it and say MVP. That's the MVP signature performance last night because there's so much pressure to get this record. Golden State's never hidden the fact that they want the record, that they would pursue the record, and his teammates didn't play great in that game. It was a game where a player like Steph had to be Steph, and he was. Harrison Barnes had some great moments closing out the game. He hit some big shots in the fourth quarter, but that was a game where your best player had to be the best player, and he was. That's the reason they're going to win the title this season, and that's the reason they're going to get to the 73 wins. They have all the parts that make a special, unique team in NBA history. They have a lethal player in Stephen Curry who's a transcendent talent, and they have the roster to back it all up. And then, of course, Steve Kerr. And it's funny because I thought about for a minute when people were debating, and guys like Stephen A. Smith were saying, well, why is a guy like Steve Kerr getting a job, getting a contract like this? What's he done in this league? Well, it doesn't take very long. Sometimes you just need to look at it from smart people in life. It doesn't matter if it's in business or in sports, are going to figure it out. They might not be ready for something initially, but if you're a smart guy and you're a visionary and you have a certain perspective and a way of doing things, and you've been around winning cultures your whole career, I'm giving you a chance. And for somebody like Stephen A. Smith to doubt it for a second without even seeing what happened first, I think it's almost laughable. And now you look at what Steve Kerr has done, and you've never heard Stephen A. Smith go back and say he was wrong, but he is, and we all know, like he often is. But it's one of those things where now you just have to look at him and say, this is a player who's played for the team that was 72-10, and now is going to coach the team that will be 73-9. That says it all right there. I mean, when we look at resumes, if you just put those two little accolades there, and then, of course, all the championships to back it all up, that is what makes Steve Kerr one of the most unique people in NBA history. And we probably won't look back at it and look at him the same way as we will with the players who made the accomplishment happen. But Steve Kerr needs to hold a special place in NBA history because while he wasn't, I mean, look, he was a role player on the Bulls team that did that, but that's not to say he didn't have big moments, that he wasn't an important cog, because he was. And sometimes players like a Steve Kerr, their importance gets overlooked because of the players like Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. But even you go back to the Miami Heat with LeBron James, if you don't have guys like Shane Battier and Mike Miller, and even players like Norris Cole and Mario Chalmers doing what they had to do, there's no titles. And sometimes the players like that get overlooked in this league, but their importance can never be underestimated because they are the reason why championships are won. It only comes so far. You need the cogs like Jordan, like LeBron, to carry the big bulk of the weight. But you need help to get over the home stretch, and that's where the players like Steve Kerr and players like Shane Battier come in. And people like that, Steve Kerr surrounded his own team with players like that. Look at a player like Sean Livingston this season. Instrumental. When Golden State was at their best before Steve Kerr took over, I thought it was when Jarrett Jack was there, right there to back up Stephen Curry. It was an instant switch of a player to a point guard spot where he could just make an instant impact. And that's exactly what Sean Livingston has done. And again, we've been talking about Golden State all season when they got off to the tremendous start. We asked the question, could they break that coveted Bulls record that seems so impossible that would ever be taken? But it is. And it's going to take one more game this Wednesday for it to happen. And some people, unfortunately, don't want it to happen, and I understand that because it's a record that means a tremendous amount, but it's a group that has done things the right way, and they're winning it, and they're going to have this 73-9 record behind the word unselfishness. It's a group that has done it all the right way, and it's going to be an incredible sight to see. But then again, we have quite a lot of basketball left ahead of us. They still need to put that ring on it to make it all worth the while. But until then, Jersey Joe Archino here with the Sports Vault. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe Archino and on Instagram, Jersey_Joe_Archino. And I'll see everybody next time